Welcome to this Blender video tutorial. It's aimed at students who come along to a lunchtime club that I run at Manor CE Academy in York, but hopefully it's useful for anyone else too. It's designed for beginners and we're only covering box modelling. So the model we create in this video is going to be a little 3D penguin. We'll put some simple colours on, but at this point in the club we're only worrying about modelling. Later on in the club I'll teach you how to animate it, so to make it move, or to put photorealistic textures on, or to make it interactive so you can control it with the arrow keys. But so far all we're interested in is just creating the 3D model. So we've got a cute little cartoony penguin like this. So let's start from the default cube in Blender, and if I go really quickly through the keyboard shortcuts, remember they're always displayed on the screen and you can always pause the video, but I want to go quite quickly so this video doesn't take too long. So first thing we're going to do is add a subsurface modifier, a subdivision surface modifier, which just smooths the cube that we've got. We'll divide it twice, so it cuts each surface in half and then cuts each subsurface in half. And we'll change it so it's smooth, so it looks relatively like a sphere. Okay, next we want to go into edit mode, so that's tab, and we're going to put a loop cut, so that's Control and R, and hover your mouse over this edge here so we get a loop cut in the middle of the front of the penguin. Next we're going to drag this edge down, so Control tab to select edge mode, right click just to get the edge at the bottom, and G to grab, Z to constrain it along the Z axis, and just pull it down so that we've got an angle where each of the legs are going to come out. Okay, Control tab and select face mode, right click, and we're going to do the penguin's right leg, so we see it on the left. E to extrude, pull it out a little bit, and S to scale it down, do the same this side, E to extrude, S, and scale it down. Now we've got quite a fat penguin at the moment, so let's see it from the side. A to select nothing, A again to select everything, S, and is it Y? No, it's X, to make him not so fat. And we'll do the same, S and Y, so he's quite a tall penguin. You can play around and get him or her your own proportions. Then we'll pull down a little bit more for the legs. In fact, we're going to rotate it, so R for rotate, and just make it relatively flat, and then E to come down, S to make it smaller, E for a little bit more and stop like that. Do the same the other side. So we'll rotate it. Sorry, someone's cutting the grass outside. I'm recording this at school. E to extrude it down, S to scale it, and then E to pull it down a little bit. That's so that we can pull out the feet from the front just here. So right click to select the bottom of its legs, just get it from the side. E to extrude, do the same the other side, so right click, E to extrude. And then here's a nice fun clever bit. We'll zoom in so that we can see one of the feet. Press K for knife, click at the top, click at the bottom, press enter. Let's do the same, click, click, enter. And then E to oops, hang on. I've got something selected over here. Okay. K, click, click, enter. K, click, click, enter. Press A so that nothing's selected. Okay, once we've done that, you can right click and E to extrude and get some little toes to come out. And because we've got the subdivision surface modifier, they look quite nice and round like toes. So, E to extrude, like so. Dear, I've got the little toe to be bigger than the big toe, but never mind, you can take some more time over this. Alright, so we've got the body and the feet. Next we're going to add the head. So let's select the top, hold down shift to select more than one surface. Let's press E to extrude just a tiny bit, S to scale it. Now this is going to be the neck, so we don't want too small, just in a little bit. E to extrude, and we're going to go halfway up the head and then scale it bigger, and then E to extrude and scale it smaller. And it's not a perfect shape, but it'll do. If at this point we want to change it so that we've pinched it too much for the neck or too little, let's show you how to do that. So Control Tab to go into edge mode, and I want to select all of the edges around here. Now I can't see them at the moment, so I'll go in wireframe mode with Z, or Z if you're American. Hold down Alt and try and click on one of them around the edge. So we've got Alt and right click for an edge is really good. It selects all of them in a loop. So Alt and right click on all of the ones here. Let's turn wireframe off with Z again, and you can stretch that and get the right proportions. I'm going to go for something like that. Okay, next let's get some space for the eyes. So Control Tab, back into the face mode. Get the front bits and just extrude them out a little bit. So we've got kind of sad, bulbous eyes. And let's put a little eyeball in. For this, we're going to go in quad view, which is Control Alt and Q, and this is really helpful. You can see from the top, from the side, and from the front, and you've got your camera view over here. So I want to put the 3D cursor just on top of one of the eyeballs. So I'm left clicking to move this 3D cursor roughly where I want it. Like that. Okay, Shift and A, let's add a cube. It's far too big, so we'll scale it down. And we'll press Control and F to get the face menu, and we'll shade it smooth. Okay, Control Alt Q to get out of quad view. We've got one little eye pupil. I think it's too far out of the head, so I'll press G and X to move it in a little bit. And then Shift and D, and I'll move it along the Y-axis until it's on the other eye. Let's have a little beak. So click where you want it to go. Shift and A to add a cube. Scale it right down. I'll go back in quad view, Control Alt Q, and let's try and move it with G and G. Back out of quad view. Okay, so let's scale it outward so it's a bit wider. So S and Y. And then let's grab the front face, so right click in face mode, and I'll grab it rather than extrude it. So G and X. And I'll make it a bit smaller at the beak size, so S. Okay, I don't know why whenever you add a new object it goes in flat mode, but let's select everything. Another nice shortcut, if you've got one face or one edge or a vertex selected, you can press Control L and it will select everything that's linked to it, which is really handy. So let's Control F and make that smooth. Okay, I think it looks a bit odd if the beak just comes straight out, so let's GX, move it in, grab the thing on the front of the beak, and GZ to move it down a little bit. And then we want the arms, so we're nearly there. This is what we've got so far. Let's click on the side, go in quad view to make sure we're going just in the right place. Turn the axes off for now. Want it just inside the body. There we go. And let's add another cube. So Shift A, add a cube. Oh, hang on, sorry, I'm doing this in object mode. That was silly. Right click, tab. There we go. Shift A, add a cube. Make it quite small. Control F, make it smooth. And I'm going to rotate it down so the arm can go at this angle rather than coming out horizontally. So R, I'm rotating around the X-axis, so I'll press X. Then I'll grab this face, extrude it out. That's too fat, so I'll scale it down with S. And when you're extruding stuff, you can just Control and click, and it adds a little bit extra on, which is really handy. So I'll do that and press S. Right, I want a copy of that arm facing the other way. So Control L to select everything linked to it. Shift D to duplicate it. And let's drag it along the Y-axis. So I pressed Y. Control M didn't do what I wanted it to do. Okay, so let's press space. Oh, hang on, sorry, no, it did do what I wanted it to do. Control M, and then I want to choose the axis Y. Enter. So Control M is mirror. And then you choose which axis you want to mirror it along. So I mirrored it on the Y-axis, so it's pointing the other way. I don't think I explained that very clearly. So Control M and then Y. There we go. Oops. Then just need to click and move it in a little bit. So GY. There we go. So that's the model for the penguin. I'm going to colour it really quickly. I'm not going to bother about photorealistic textures because that's coming up in the next term of the Club3D tutorials, but I'm just going to put different colours on all of the faces. So let's go back into edit mode, and to begin with, let's select everything, and we want everything to be black. So click on the world over here. Let's call this fur. Change the diffuse colour to be black. So that's got everything black on here. Let's change the beak, so we'll add a new material and create another material block, and we'll change the colour to orange, and we'll call it beak, although we're going to use it for the feet as well actually. Press A to select nothing. It's quite hard to see stuff in black, it's irritating. Select part of the beak, Control L, click on the material and assign it, and let's do the same for the feet. Now you can't click on it and Control L because you'll get the whole of the body, so what we've got to do, we'll use circle select for this. So I'm going to go in wireframe mode so that we don't get irritated by all the black. Press C, and you can just paint with the left mouse button, but when you press the middle mouse button, because you want to rotate the view, it kind of gets rid of the selection, so you have to press escape before you can scroll around. So C, escape. I think that's all of that foot, so we'll assign that. Obviously you can't see it until you go out of wireframe mode. So C, paint this foot, escape, C around here. You can spend more time doing this, I just want to try and do it quite quickly. Yeah, that's got all of the foot. Let's assign that, have a look at it. Okay, so we've got the feet and the beak. I want a bit on the front that is white, so I could paint all of this white, but it won't look particularly realistic. So I'm going to select both of these faces, W to subdivide them, and just get these 4 in the middle. Let's add a new material. Yep, that white will be fine. Let's just call it white and assign that, and do the same for the eyes. So right click and shift right click to get more than one of them. Assign that in white, and there you go. That's your little penguin. So you can play around with the facial expressions. You can duplicate them, Shift D, so you've got a whole army of penguins. You can do whatever you like. Remember, later on in Club3D we'll learn how to animate them, to make them move. We'll learn how to change the textures, so you can make it look like it's got proper fur and it's a little bit dirty around the bottom or whatever. And we'll learn how to make them interactive, so you can have him waddling around with the arrow keys. But I hope this has been useful. If you have any requests for animals or objects you want tutorials for, just put a little comment in the video, and if I get time, I'll see what I can do. Thanks a lot, enjoy!